until this moment, I really questioned myself on how I got to this point in my life. I realize now that it was my determination and my support from my peers. Many of those peers came from the program we all know as AVID. But the beginning started when I was young. As a child, my parents always used to buy me pretend doctor kits to play with. I loved having my parents and my stuffed animals as patients to work with. I used to check heartbeats and blood pressure, and even learn how to tie an arm sling with my younger sister's baby wipes. I enjoyed acting as a doctor and enjoyed even more learning about different types of medical careers. Once I reached around age 8, I decided on what I wanted to become. When I learned the name pediatric cardiologist surgeon, saying that name always felt right to me to identify as. I realized then that being a surgeon has to be my future, and that I would do anything to get myself to that point. As I entered middle school, I was introduced to a program called AVID. AVID was shown to me as an opportunity to fully reach my goals and prepare myself for my future. It was really then I was introduced to the concept of college. Within the next year, I was sitting in an AVID classroom with a big variety of students. I saw that there were people that really do want to accomplish more in life, while also seeing those that don't even care to reach far enough to get what they are capable of. But deep down, I knew that if I was going to make it to being a surgeon, I had to start research on not just a career, but also myself. I learned that colleges look at things such as GPA and involvement in school and community events. Focusing on grades was never difficult for me, but a task such as socializing was always troubling. In the past, I've always been a shy and quiet person, unless I was with someone I knew well. But even then, I never fully showed my family and friends who I truly was as a person. I was never easily capable of showing my peers my creativity and my ideas, as I was always afraid of the outcome. I would put myself down and give up trying to include myself in activities despite having the interest. My AVID teacher in middle school, Miss Moreno, was always a kind and accepting person. She always gave up her personal time to look into college-related majors as well as support me on all my decisions. I would stay with her and help interview possible future AVID students, and even once spoke for AVID in promoting Salazar-AVID camp. She steered me through the right path in order to get me noticed by programs. With a teacher as nice and supporting as Miss Moreno, and a program willing to lift me high in the right direction, I knew that AVID was the way to go. I was getting letters from universities and getting recognized for my grades and GPA. It was shocking to see how much attention you can get from so many people in colleges just for your grades and drive to succeed. It made me think of how many opportunities I had turned down before. My two high school AVID teachers, Miss Y and Mr. Falcon, showed me the chances I have been given to get scholarships for schools and programs that will help pay for my schooling. As I reached my senior year in high school, I earned scholarships and letters from colleges just for putting myself out there. I saw myself as a whole different person just by showing the world my voice and the words I had put out for them to read. Being an AVID student who put herself out there got me noticed for another opportunity. As I look at this crowd of amazing people, I'd like to point out our student leaders and show myself as one of them. Last year, I was an AVID student leader who spoke to multiple principals and school staff who had thought about having AVID in their school. They asked the questions primarily on why. Why should we include AVID as an elective for our students? As student leaders, we had to explain the difference AVID has made in our lives. We showed our organization skills, communication skills, and what our drive was solely based on. We gave the reasonings on why we have made it thus far and why we have decided that AVID was the right path. And we leaders are the reason AVID continues to help millions in accomplishing their visions. But as I was accomplishing so much, at times, I was in my worst state of mind. In January of this year, I lost my unborn niece to my sister's miscarriage. I listened to my parents scream and panic in the middle of the night as all the thoughts spiraled through my mind. I was filled with worry for my sister and hoping to God she would be okay. Within only 2 weeks, my dear grandma was taken into the ER as she had been struggling with heart and kidney failure. Soon after, I was told my Aunt Sandy, a close friend of my family for many years, could possibly die in a week due to her struggle with Alzheimer's. All of this hit like a hard rock. I felt like I couldn't get back up from this. I was filled with anxiety and went through a time in my life that I struggled with depression. During this time, I suffered with horrible headaches and chest pains, which led me to also being admitted into the ER back in April. I was immediately at my worst. I felt like I had reached my limit and that there was no crawling back from it. But as I had learned before, I realized I wasn't alone. I had my family and my incredible AVID village to comfort me. To have a teacher as great as Miss Y and a village who is willing to hold you in their arms as you cry is something I had never had before. Knowing that I have peers who empathize with me and are willing to give me the extra hand to lift me out of that pit of despair, I am moved beyond words. I'm slowly coming out of the cell that holds me prisoner and seeing the light of my future that I know will get me far. I see that the world around me is willing to give a hand and see that I am able to get up and show up to whatever opportunity life gives me to be better and get better, to become the one I want to be because of AVID. Part of becoming who I want to be as a surgeon is that I will be going to the University of the Incarnate Word as a pre-med major. To all the people who have supported me up until this point, dear God, my family, all of my best friends, Miss Moreno, Miss Haywood, Mr. Root, Mr. Falcon, and Miss Y, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the comfort and hope you've given me up until this very moment. To my parents and the teachers I just mentioned, please stand to be recognized. Today marks a new chapter for the AVID community and myself. To all the AVID leaders in the room, we are strong, we are determined, and we are one village who is made to change lives. My AVID family, let us continue to do great things for the world. Let us continue to improve children's ways of life and give them a bit of hope that they too can become somebody. From a Ross Rebel to a Holmes Husky, and now to an Incarnate Word Cardinal, I see now that I am enough. Thank you.